Hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers are risking everything.
Europe's migrant crisis is getting worse.
Migrant crisis spiraling out of control.
Well, 5 years ago, in the summer of 2015, Europe faced its biggest migration crisis since World War II.
Especially in the Mediterranean and Atlantic, continues unabated, with drowning deaths now on the rise. Activists blame the European Union's policies for the deaths, and there is a plan to reform migration policy.
Refugees were never anything new to me. In fact, I already likened the word refugee to being Afghan because my parents and so many adults in my family had been a refugee at some point in their life. My family crossed over to Europe during the migration crisis using the same dangerous routes, the same makeshift unsecured boats, and hoping for the same outcomes, as did thousands and thousands and thousands of other migrants. And for my female cousin, she actually ended up taking the journey over the Mediterranean by herself. And I can't begin to imagine what that's like for a lone female at the hands of smugglers to have nobody around her. So yeah, this campaign is personal. But it's personal because I see my cousins, my family as humans, just like everybody else does. But the word refugee makes them unhuman. And I know them enough to know that if things didn't go wrong, nobody would dream of leaving their home.
Mais c'est parce que ça va pas qu'on sort pour chercher pour la famille. Je suis sorti du pays pour une vie meilleure, pour une nouvelle vie, pour une liberté.
كل ما تعدي طيارة بنفكر إنه بدنا نموت وبلف أطفالي هيك ونموت نحن ولافين بعض.
My dad left during the Soviet war into neighboring Pakistan, thinking that he'd linger until the end of the conflict. My mom thought the same. But 30 years later, they have not stepped foot onto their homeland. Refugees have no choice. But it's so hard to drive that point when there's such disgusting rhetoric out there that marginalizes them.
Now, we've been covering in depth on this show how President Trump has promised to do everything within his power to stop radical Islamic terrorists from entering this country and putting you, the American people, in danger. Now, he plans on doing that in part by enacting extreme vetting of refugees. However, as we told you last night, the alt-radical obstructionist left here in America is trying to stop the president, and by doing so, they are showing that they are perfectly willing to gamble with your lives, the lives of the American people.
I wish other people would see what I saw, hear what I heard, and have that kind of anger. And so I embarked on this campaign with the help of Full Potential, and we are here now wanting to educate our audiences about what we think is the most important, to take a stand against what's unfolding in Europe today.
EU governments are doing everything they can to deny their responsibility to those seeking safety, turning a blind eye to those in distress, leaving people adrift for hours or even days without food, water, or medical attention.
To tackle the unprecedented numbers of people risking their lives to enter its borders, Europe is spending hundreds of millions of euros to fortify its frontiers.
And the world was silent.
Egyszer oda kell rájuk figyelni, mert ez borzasztó. Emberek, ennyi. Segíteni kell.
What this campaign really is about is pushing against everything we're taught to believe in. The rhetorics we're sold, it's all BS. We're used every day by government powers who struggle to maintain control from their own doings. We are the products of domestic and foreign policies that pit us against one another and also breed ignorant populism, nationalism, and racism in this country and in Europe. The migration crisis should make us wake up. I think that Europe needs to be discussed in terms of its wrongdoings, its crimes, and mistakes in its policies since the crisis. This isn't over, and I feel that we'll only see it get worse as new political parties shift dynamics in government parliaments. People will remain ignorant and unmotivated to question authority if all they are fed is propaganda. And if I could make one more person aware of what I believe is most important, to be obsessed with it, to become as passionate as I am, to talk about it, and to push other people to talk about it, then I feel like I did my civic duty. I exercised my privilege to my civil rights effectively, and I'd be happy.